Hello everyone, welcome back to the anniversary edition where I'm going to make my wife a meatloaf dinner. This is gonna be a simple meal, but it's very delicious. Come on in and I'm gonna show you how to make a meatloaf. So first of all, I'm gonna start off with a pound of ground beef. And then you're gonna take about 3/4 a cup of, you can either use breadcrumbs or oats. If you like to use oats, you want to stick that in there. And you want to take 1 egg, crack that in there. You want to take some salt, because we're on vacation and sort of bag things up here. You want to take some salt, sort of sprinkle it in there for some taste to bring out the flavor, and then some pepper. Normally it calls for 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 3/4 teaspoon of pepper. Some people put like garlic or things like that. I do have some onion powder that's already mixed in there as well. You can use fresh onions and cut them up, and that gives it even more of a flavor. My wife's not too fond of like raw onions, so we go with the onion powder. Now, I like to take some ketchup and go ahead and squirt it in there as well. Now, it does take a lot of ketchup. And then comes the fun part. So we're gonna take everything and mix it up with our hands here like this. Everything, the egg, just everything. And you wanna get it really well mixed in together. So the egg acts as a binder, and so does the oats. Or if you choose to use breadcrumbs, again, that's totally fine as well. And in the back here, we're gonna have some homemade mashed potatoes and some corn on the cob that we picked up at a farmer's market on the way up here. I've been making the meatloaf for years. I used to like it as a kid, and sort of just came up and use my own stuff. Again, you can add things to it, you know, if you like. Some people add like peppers to it or whatever, but we just like to keep it simple. Again, I know it seems like I'm over mixing it, but you just want to make sure like the egg and everything is in there is really good and mixed in evenly, because otherwise you may have a part of it that has more egg in it than the other, or more oats or whatever. But as you can see, I'm just sort of pushing it in. You can squeeze it together if you want to, but I think just sort of rolling it over and sort of squishing it in there works very well. And then all you want to do is take it out of the bowl and push it into the pan here. Now you can use a smaller pan. Normally I do, but again, we are on vacation, so I don't have a smaller pan to make it fit in there right. But just make it into like a loaf, almost like a And obviously, if you have a larger family, you can have more. We have a family of 5, and so obviously 1 pound of ground beef does us pretty good. Obviously, if you have like sides with it, you know, like corn or mashed potatoes or whatever you like to do there. I can see, I'm just trying to get a little bit. And you want to try to make all sides of it even, because obviously if it's thicker, it's going to take longer to cook on that one side. Spin around, and as you can see, this is going to be delicious. So that's how simple it is to make a real good meatloaf. And basically, we're going to heat up the oven. We're going to cook it. It'll take, depending on your oven and where you are, between 45 minutes to an hour. And so what I like to do is about after 30 minutes in, I'll look at it, and if it looks like it's almost done, that's when we're gonna put on the ketchup and cut it. That's where all the yumminess starts to really come out. So 350, we're gonna start. All right, so we're gonna take the corn, because as you can see, the water is already boiling. Pretty simplistic just to take the corn on the cob and put it in there. Corn on the cob does take a little bit longer to cook, so it's probably gonna take as long as it takes the meatloaf to actually cook. You want to keep it just keep it rolling. And then, while that's going, we're gonna move on to the homemade mashed potatoes. You know what I mean? What I like to do, again, some people take the whole potato and put it there or cut it into bigger chunks. It will cook that way, but it does take longer. So obviously, I like to dice mine up a little bit so that way it cooks faster. Say little bitty chunks. And again, just little bitty chunks here. And some people don't like the skins, and that's optional. If you want to peel them first, you can do that as well. But we like to keep the peel on. It just gives it more flavor and depth. Ooh, we got a runaway potato. I can do fancy stuff, but that's not my thing. I just like to have food that's quick to cook and tastes great. So, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these and start to put these in a pot over here. Let them start boiling and make us some mashed potatoes. Again, these potatoes are probably gonna take about the same amount of time as the corn and the meatloaf. And now we're just getting ready, just waiting for the oven to preheat. And again, if you want to throw it in there a little bit sooner before it reaches 350, that's fine as well. But it's just going to take a little bit longer. Make everything nice and neat, and that way, when you're done cooking, it's a lot less to clean up. And again, if the food dries in, it becomes harder to clean. So I like to have a neat, clean kitchen. So the oven's finally preheated to 350, and we're gonna put this meatloaf in there. Like I said, we're gonna keep an eye on it, because again, we're on vacation, so I'm not used to this oven. And sometimes they cook a little bit faster, or it takes a little bit longer. So we're gonna put them in here. We want to put it probably on like a middle rack. And there you go. And we'll check it, and we'll come back in 30 minutes and check on it. All right, so we're gonna set the time for 30 minutes. 30 minutes. There you go.
There you go.
There you go. All right, well, the potatoes seem to be soft. You just take a fork, and when you put it in there, it becomes a sort of mushy, like this. See how it just sort of breaks apart pretty easy. So we're gonna go ahead and drain these, because if you let them cook too long, it becomes very starchy. You don't want that. So I just sort of strain it through the strainer down here. I'll leave a little bit of water in the bottom of it. All right, mix this up with the mixer. I got some salt, some butter, and some milk here. It just makes it more creamy. I like to take a little slab of butter and just stick it in there. A little milk. This thing's a little tough. This thing's fast. Faster than I anticipated. Look at that thing. I think it has a turbo button. I don't want turbo with that thing. I like to put a little salt in there. Again, you can always add more, but you can't take away. So it's better to put in less and need more than it is to take that. I'm going to add a little more milk to it because we like ours a little more creamy. Oh, look at that. Look at that. We're gonna get us a spoon out. We're gonna try this. Yummy. All right, so it's been 30 minutes. We're going to check on the meatloaf and see how it's doing. We're gonna pull this thing out of here. Now, sometimes you will have fat in there. I like to sort of drain it out. Let me see if I can find a bowl real fast. Drain some of the fat out of here. That way all the fat's not in there. Some of it's gonna cook out, but now we're gonna take the knife and sort of just cut it open, see how it's doing. Oh yeah, she's already brown inside. See that? Look at that. Ooh.
It looks good.
I like to just go ahead and cut it into the different slices. And that way when we put on our ketchup, now you can use ketchup, you can use barbecue sauce. We just use ketchup because that's just what we like. Sometimes I'll add like the ketchup and the barbecue sauce with it. So now we're gonna take some ketchup and just squirt it all on top of this thing. Because this is gonna be your coating. Almost like a cake with icing. Look at that. And get you a spoon. I like to get a spoon instead of a knife and just sort of just smear it on there like this. Look at that. And again, if you want to add like herbs to the topping, you can add like oregano or thyme or whatever you want. But for us, we just like to see it plain here. Look at that. Look at that. Now, we're gonna put this back in there for probably sometimes 15 minutes, but I'm gonna put it in there for like 10, because I think it'll be done. We're gonna go ahead and put this back in there. And what it'll do is it'll cook it and it acts like a glaze. 10 minutes. There you go. And we'll come back and check on it in 10 minutes and see how it's doing. All right, it looks like the meatloaf is finished. We're gonna check it out. We're gonna turn this off and get to this real fast. Look at that. That's some yummy food right there. Put this up. We can check in the middle there, see because I had already pre-cut it. It's a lot easier just to go ahead and like that. And that's done right there. Now we're gonna plate it. And we're gonna eat it. Father, we thank you so much for this food. You're so kind and provided for us and working to guide us. Now this will make a bulldog break his chain.
Thankful that I have a man who knows how to cook and who likes it.
I like it.